Alright, hello guys, welcome back. It's been a while, I've been kind of busy with examination, but I'm so happy and excited to be back here again and to share with you some knowledge about C# or C# programming language. So we're going to pass through this assignment here, and we're going to solve all these questions here, and hope will be helpful to you when you are solving, when you're dealing or some kind of you're learning what C# programming language. So if you're able to solve all of this 13 questions, then I think you'll be there, you'll be at good position. So let's just get started. So there is this concept of Linq in C# programming language. So I'm going to read this definition for you just quick. So Linq itself stands for language integrated query. That's just a long form of the Linq. So what is it actually, Linq? Linq is just a data querying methodology that provides you, querying capabilities to .NET language with a syntax that is similar to SQL query. So it's kind of similar way of interacting with databases, similar way like SQL. How does SQL execute? How does SQL interact with databases? So it provides that kind of analogy to it. So that's it. That's pretty much it. Just the methodology of providing query capabilities to .NET languages. When I say .NET languages, what I mean is like C#, it is a .NET. .NET is a framework, and so within that we have the programming languages that point to the .NET framework. And good example is C#, Visual Basic. All these programming languages are pointing to .NET framework. So Linq has a great power of querying any source of data. Just keep in mind, Linq was built, or it's inbuilt to .NET framework or .NET languages. So it has a great power of querying any kind of source, any source of data. For example, you can use it to query XML or arrays, any kind of object or iteratable objects. Anyway, let's just get on. So you can see the statement says data source could be collection of objects, database or XML files. So we can easily retrieve data from any object that implemented to enumerable interface. So literally any form of data, any source of data. So we have a couple of advantages of using Linq. So I think from now you can tell by yourself, what are the advantages, right? So let's just see these two examples or these two advantages of Linq. The first one is Linq provides or offers an object-based language integrated way to query over data, no matter where data comes from, that I said in the last statement. So though Linq can query a database and the XML as well as collection. So that's a good example. It provides an object-based language integrated way of querying over data. There is no such way of writing. There is no such kind of something like select from which table, from certain table. There's no such kind of that. There's no something like that. So all we need is just a simple method. It can does everything. It can do everything. Like for example, just method to fetch something. If you are familiar with Laravel programming language, I think this is what they did. They hide that complexity of writing SQL or programming SQL or language to get data maybe from database. So this is the similar structure, similar structure to what I have been speaking of. So Linq in general offers an object-based language integrated. Object-based, keep that in mind. Object-based language integrated way to query over data. When I say query, means like maybe to select, maybe to insert, no matter where data comes from. That's the key important point. It offers a compile time syntax checking. So that's really good. It's cool. I mean, just a really cool one. Okay, so it allows you to query the collections like array. I have said it before, literally any source of data. It can be a collection of array, enumerable classes, and etc. So in the native language of your application like Visual Basic or C#, in much the same as you will query a database using the SQL. So that's it. That's some kind of importance of of using Linq. Now, question number 3 says, what are the namespace which should be included while making use of Linq operations? What do you think? What are these namespace? In C# programming language, we have this concept of namespaces, right? It seems like what we can say. It's like we also have this concept in, I think, in PHP. Yeah? So it's like project, folder structure. It's like simplifying you the way to reference where these classes are. It can groups the classes, So namespace group classes. We have multiple classes within one namespace. So we can easily import that. You can easily import those classes from other classes. Okay, so what do you think are the namespace now of Linq? Linq is a class. Remember that it's an object oriented, so it's a class that is built in. So how are we going to use? What is the namespace that provides this Linq? Okay, I think this is the answer. See, so it's in the system.linq. Yeah, I think that's the correct one. Now, the next question is like, why do we need Linq? Why do we need it all? Is it because of this importance here, or because of disadvantages above? Let's just see why. Language integrated query, in short way, Linq, that bridges the gap between the world of object and the world of data. Oh my God! Keep this in mind. If you're listening, please keep this in mind. It may help you. It is the bridge between the world of data and the world of objects. So it kind of bridging you, giving you a way, interfaces to connect objects and the data. So traditionally, queries against data. Traditionally, this Linq, it queries against data expressed as a simple string without type checking at compile time or IntelliSense support. Furthermore, you can learn a different query languages for each type of data source, like SQL or XML document and various web services and so on. But Linq makes a query first-class language construct in C# and Visual Basic. So, for example, if you want to, let's say, you want to interact with SQL database, you have to learn SQL program, SQL language, I can say, query language. You want to maybe use XML, you must learn XML document. How does XML markup language work? This kind of markup language, you have to understand the structure. But that's not necessary for Linq. All you need is to learn C# programming language and just understand the concept of classes, the object-oriented, the whole thing of object-oriented programming in C#. Once you get that on your mind, then it gives you all capabilities to interact with any type of data source. It can be SQL or XML or arrays, any kind of enumerables that gives you a data. So that's why this statement says, traditionally queries against data expressed as a simple string without type checking at compile time. And remember what we say above, we say it gives a compile time syntax checking. That's the Linq. But traditionally we don't have that. There's no type checking at compile time. So IntelliSense support. And furthermore, you have to learn a different query language for each type of data source, right? But that's not the case in Linq. So that's why we need, I think, Linq. Okay, so we have kinds, many, I think 5 kinds of Linq. Then these are these types of links, or we can say different kinds of link or types of link. So link to XML. Remember the statement I say that link, it offers the bridge, it fills the gap between the world of objects and world of data. So you can see now links help you to integrate with XML document. You can query XML document with using link, and that's why we have link to XML. The same thing, link to object, link to SQL, or link to entities, and link to data set. All right, now what now are the benefits? It's kind of the same question, right? Just to list them here. Okay, the first benefit of using link, because the first benefit is the main objective of utilizing link is to fetch complicated queries in data set, right? So this is the main objective, complicated queries. Link can help you to do that. So we also use it to fetch a unique values from dataset. Okay, that's pretty explanatory. A link is useful for combining values from two sets of data. Oh yeah, this is one of the best benefit of using link. It gives you a way of combining values from two separate of data. Imagine you can use a link to query XML and SQL. Now it gives you a capability to combine values from SQL to XML, because it bridges those gaps that exist between, right? So that's it. That's link is useful in combining values from two separate data set. And also it offers functionality more than Addo.net. It offers more functionality than Addo.net. We're going to see what is Addo.net. So it also gives a best method compared with SQL query for querying datasets. See? So this is kind of, link is more powerful than SQL, right? Because it has more method compared to what? SQL querying. Now, what is the different methods of writing link query syntax? Okay. Now, these are those different two different methods of writing link query to the data source. You can use what is called expression syntax or query syntax, right? You can also use method extension syntax or what we call method syntax. So in a short way, you can just say query and method syntax. Those are the two methods we use to query, to link query to the data sources. You can either use query syntax or method syntax. Okay. Now, what are the primary components of link? What are those primary components? What are the building components of building structures of link? Now we have these three primary components of link. The first one is language expression and link providers, right? And the third one is standard query operators. I don't really have explanation here, but we think we can see it maybe later on. But just know that we have three primary components, or you can just search it on the internet, these three components of link, and see what are they. You can learn more about language extension, link providers, and standard query operator. Now this question says here, what are different ways to write link syntax query? Link query syntax. What are the different, or you can just say, what are different ways of writing link query? So there are two common ways to write a link query to data source. Any kind of data source, remember. You can either use query syntax or method syntax, the same thing as we see above. So it's pretty much simple. Now explain how link is more important than stored procedures. Remember, we say link is an object-oriented procedures. So why is it important? How link is more important than stored procedures? Okay, so now these are the answers here. Deployment. For stored procedures, we must give further scripting yet with Linq everything is compiled into just one dynamic Linq library, thus making development easy. So one of the very important reason why Linq is more important than stored procedure is easy development. And why is it easy? Because there is no further scripting. We just use Linq itself and everything is done. It's compiled into DDLO, and we can reuse that DDLO, dynamic Linq language, as type of assembly. We can reuse it, right? Another reason is debugging. It is not easy to debug the stored procedures, yet as Linq is part of .NET, we can just use Visual Studio Debugger to debug the query. So it's pretty much easy. So the first reason, how is Linq is more important than stored procedures is in case of development, debugging, type safety. Keep this in mind, it's very important. In the beginning, we don't have this concept of type safety. We don't have this one, but Linq give you an ability to don't mix types. You cannot combine integer and string in one collection. That's not possible. When you say type safety, it's like something like that. It must be only the collection maybe of integers or collection of strings, whatever, something like that. So type safety, it offers type safety, and since it offers type safety, it will be easy to it will increase the performance. Just see that in generic and non-generic collections. Now describe Linq to SQL. Okay, Linq to SQL is a part of ADO.NET programming. It handles the relational data. Okay, remember what we said about Linq. It's a bridge between any form of data, between the world of object and the world of data. Now he's trying to explain or to show you how does Linq relate to SQL. It says that Linq to SQL is just part of ADO.NET programming language, and what it does, it handles the relational data. Why? Because SQL, it handles the relational data. So the same thing, Linq to SQL handles the relational data as an object. Linq to SQL transforms the language integrated query into an object to an SQL and dispatch them to a database for implementation. And when database responses, the result of Linq to SQL will be converted back into object. That's pretty much it. So what we did, we just use one single method of Linq that Linq provide. For example, you can say that method will be like fetch, but behind the scene that method is writing an SQL query that will be dispatched to database for implementation. And when we get the response back, we take that response and convert it back to the object so we can use it in Linq. So that's it. Now what are the difference between he's repeating the same question, I don't know why this is repeating the difference between Linq and stored procedure. Anyway, the following are the critical difference between Linq and stored procedures. One of the differences is that stored procedures is more rapid than Linq query, as they follow the correct execution plan. It's more rapid. That's different, right? Critical difference is more rapid. It's simpler to avoid runtime error in SQL query than comparing with a stored procedure. So Linq utilize .NET debugger to enable debugging, which is not stored procedure. And also Linq provides multiple database contrary to a stored procedure. So that's what we see, right? Implementation of Linq-based solution is more agreeable than development of stored procedure. So this is kind of difference, but in some sense or in some way it's not like actual difference, but I don't know what you're thinking of. But anyway, if you think will be the difference, that's pretty much up to you. Anyway, so what I see here is like this one is good one here. Linq supports multiple database contrary to stored procedure. Okay, and the next one, which one is good? Linq utilize .NET debugger to enable debugging, while stored procedure don't have that. But also this is kind of cool, but whatever. Stored procedures is more rapid than Linq queries as they follow the correct syntax, or correct execution plan. Now let's see an example of Linq in action here. What is the output of this, of the following code here? Remember we say Linq is coming from namespace, which is this one, system.linq, and then we also have this generic collection, and we're importing generic here. Now let's see the example of Linq. The same structure, public key class program. This is a class, right? Yeah, this is a class, and inside this class we have a static method, which is the entry method of this class. And right at the body, in the body of this method, we have this list, which is type string here. This is a type string, and with its name, whatever, and these are the values that we have in this list. We have Java developer, .NET developer, graphics designer, main stack developer, and Java. Now the Linq method syntax. Okay, we say there is a two-way syntax of methods of querying data using Linq. Okay, now the first one is an example of method syntax. We say there is a method syntax and query syntax. Now this is an example of method syntax. Let's see. Say var result is equal to string list. Where is string list? Here. Okay, so this is kind of collection of data. Now we want to get this data by using Linq. Okay, so we just say string list, which is the name of this list, dot where. Okay, see, dot where. This is a lambda expression. Keep this in mind. It's a lambda expression where this is an expression. This is what is going to be returned here, and this is parameter. Okay, so now let's see. It says string.list where, so it's going to loop in this list here, finding any string that's contain this developer keyword. That's why you said s dot contains developer. So what will be the output? Since this one will return a list again, I think, yeah, it will return the list of this a list of all words that contain developer. So we have to loop on in the result value here. We have to loop here result, and so we say for each var str and result. So for each result we are looping, for each word that contain developer we are looping and print it to a standard input, to a standard output, which is console. So that's it. Now in the end the output of this code will be Java developer, because we have the keyword developer here, and we also have going to have .NET developer and main stack developer. Graphic designer and Java will not be outputted here. So that's pretty much it. Now let's just finalize with this final question here. It says choose the correct statement about Linq. What is the correct statement about Linq? The main concept behind the Linq is query. Is that correct? Choose the wrong, sorry. Choose the wrong statement about the Linq. Wrong statement, okay? The main concept behind Linq is query. Is this wrong or not? Let's see all of this. Let's just pass through all of these options here. Links make use for each loop to execute a query. Not really. It is not required that Linq should make use of IEnumerable interfaces. What do you think will be the answer here? Okay, I'm not sure what will going to be the answer, and I don't have answer right now here, but you can just search it on Google and see what is the wrong statement about. But I feel like the wrong statement about, according to what we learned, the wrong statement is maybe Linq is not required. It is not required that Linq should make use of IEnumerable interface. Make use. Linq make use of for each loop to execute the query. Really? No. Yes, this one makes sense. Yeah, I think this one makes sense. But anyway, you can just search it, and if you find answer, please put in the comment below. Thank you. That's pretty much it. If you like it, please give me a thumb up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a good time there.